All right, guys, welcome to another live stream. Welcome to another live stream. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. So, in today's live stream, we're going to talk about whether you should pay off your debt first before you start investing. And the reason why I bring up this topic is because I've been hearing a lot, especially on YouTube, a lot of people, their stance is that you should not invest at all until you pay off your consumer debt, like credit cards, eh, personal loans, things like that. I'm not sure if they were talking about car loans. I'm pretty sure they probably weren't talking about that, but they were saying credit cards and things like personal loans with variable rates, where you're going to be charged 18 to 30% a year on that debt, and you should pay it off first. Okay, so let's go into that. So first, we have to separate the type of debt. One, I think if it's like student loan debt and or a car loan debt, things like that, it should not be applicable to this. If you have those type of debts, I think most people do. I think you should still be investing if you have those type of debts. I was making sure my microphone was working. Yeah, so if you have a car loan and or a student loan, I don't think those type of debts should prevent you from investing, because typically those are going to run you like 2 to 7%, and you could probably make a lot more money out there in the market or even with a business. For me, investing, you could be investing in a business, you could be investing in stocks, you could be investing in crypto. Now, let's go over to the type of debt that I think these people were referring to. I think these people were referring to credit card debt and personal loan debt. And specifically, those type of credit cards and those type of personal loans that have a variable rate. Now, typically for a credit card, I mean, unless you got the zero APR for the first year, you're going to be paying 18% after that promotional year and beyond, right? Probably up to 25%. Now, let's just say you had a $10,000 balance. Each year, let's just say you're paying, let's just do round numbers to make it easy, you paid 20% APR on that debt, on that credit card debt. Off that 10,000, essentially you'd be paying $2,000 plus the compounded interest. So maybe you're at like 22 to 2,500 a year. Now, let's say you had $10,000 in the bank, and you said, okay, if I listen to those people that said that I can't invest until I pay off my debts, I would take that 10,000 from my bank account and clear the debt. So that way I'm not paying that 2,500 at the end of the year. But my problem with that, I don't agree. That's my stance. I don't agree with that, because there's plenty of times where in the past where I had credit card debt and I invested to essentially make more money to pay that debt off faster and have a lot more money in the bank account. So for instance, maybe not when BTC first came out, maybe it wasn't a kind of like a sure thing. But I think these days when you talk about investments like BTC or even like an NVIDIA, where you could probably close to have doubled your money, and there's more investments out there. Every year you have investments where you can double or triple your money. And I'm not saying it's going to be a short thing that you're going to double or triple your money, but I think there's a lot of options out there that if you do your research, if you have a lot of conviction, I think it's worthwhile if it's like $10,000 worth of credit card debt to take that 10,000 and let's just use BTC for an example, right? Let's just say you kept up with the space. You knew like, okay, this year, because it's a halving year, you did your research, it's a halving year, and you said, okay, I'm going to put 10,000 into BTC before the halving, and or let's just say you put it at the beginning of the year because you said, okay, this is going to be a halving year, but you also have $10,000 in debt. So you have $10,000 in cash and you have $10,000 in debt at the beginning of January, the halving year. And you said, okay, well, I know I have a good feeling, like 80% feeling, 80% chance that BTC is going to go up after the halving. So I know I'm going to accrue around 2,000 to 2,500 worth of like interest on my credit card. But if I take that 10,000 and put it in BTC, by the end of the year, I have a good chance of doubling my money. And if you would have did that, you would have had 20,000 at the end of the year. You still would have had your 10,000 in credit card debt and then the additional 2,500. But then you could take the difference between that and now you have 7,500 in your pocket, opposed to taking that $10,000 and paying off the credit card debt, and then you potentially miss that investment because you got to remember things like, the BTC happening or GPUs getting hot and NVIDIA spiking up. These investment opportunities, think about investment opportunities, they don't come along all the time. It's a special time period, special time and place that you have to be, and you have to have the knowledge to make that. And so that's what I'm saying. If it's a scenario where you have the knowledge, you did the research, and you say, okay, I have this much in debt and I have this much in cash, I think it serves me better to put this money in this investment where it's probably going to double or more. And by the end of the year, you put yourself in a position where you have now $20,000 and you have $12,500 in debt, and you clear it out and you ended up with $7,500. So I think it just depends on the situation. Now, if you're a person that's not good at investing and you don't do any research and you're just kind of like putting your money in anything, yeah, I would agree. Take that money and pay off that high interest credit card debt, that high interest personal loan first, and then you can potentially start looking for investments. But I just don't like it when people say, oh, they're very extreme. They heard somebody else say it and they go with what somebody else says. They say, okay, well, you should not be investing at all if you have credit card debt with a high interest, right? But what if you could take $10,000 cash and 10x it? Now you have $100,000, but you wouldn't be able to do it if you took that money and paid off all your credit card debt. As long as it doesn't mess up your credit and you could service that debt, you could service that credit card debt for that year, and you're not going to miss payments and it's not going to mess up your credit score. I think if you have a high conviction play, if you've been in the space for a while, whether it's real estate, stocks, or crypto, it serves you better to put that money in a position that's going to double or triple, because then you could come back to that debt and pay it off and also have a surplus, opposed to missing that opportunity. That's what happens when you take cash and pay off credit card debt. Yes, you are debt free, but now you have no capital base. And now you have to save up that $10,000 again, which may take who knows how long. It takes people a long time to save up to $10,000 cash. And if you tell somebody to pay that off, now they have to spend another 2 to 3 years trying to build that capital base. And within those 2 to 3 years, you're missing all those financial opportunities. You're missing the Bitcoin. You're missing the NVIDIA. You're missing the Palantir. You're missing the Tesla. You're missing all these opportunities to double, triple your money because you wanted to pay off your credit card early. Now, again, if you're not well versed in the asset you're trying to invest in, if you didn't do your research, then yeah, go ahead, try to pay off that credit card debt. Or you could do a combination of both. Maybe you put $5,000 towards your credit card debt, and then you put $5,000 into the investment. So at least you knock down half the credit card debt, and maybe you start increasing your monthly payments to that credit card debt to essentially pay it off quicker. But there's combinations, there's different ways to do things. When it comes to finances, people make money and people handle their financial situation. You can handle your financial situation in different ways. You don't have to deal in absolutes where like, oh no, you should never invest if you have credit card debt. You should never invest if you have a personal loan. Like it doesn't make sense. I know people that have invested while they had credit card debt, while they had a personal loan, and they end up making a bunch of money to come back and pay off that loan a lot quicker, and then also have a surplus from what they made on that investment. So you got to really think about stuff. And I say this now because, we are in a bull market when it comes to crypto. And I think a small amount of money, like 5 to 10 grand, could turn into 100 grand or 50 grand pretty easily. And if you had 10 to 15,000 in credit card debt, you can easily wipe that away with the investments in crypto. Now, it's not financial advice. I just wanted to give my take on whether it was good to either pay off debt before you invest, or can you invest while you have credit card debt? And I think you can, but it just depends on what you're investing in, what's the situation, and how likely is it for you to make more money to compensate for the interest you're going to gain on that credit card, right? Because you always got to look at the numbers. Okay, I'm going to get 2,500 of interest on this credit card for this year. Can I make more than 2,500, right? And it should be a lot higher than 2,500. I would say like you should at least be making 3,500 to consider whether to go into investment and leave the credit card debt opposed to just paying it off. It should be worth it, right? If you're not going to pay off the credit card debt because you want to go into an investment, it should be worth it. It should be an instance where, okay, I'm going to accrue 2,500 in interest from my $10,000 balance in credit card debt, but if I go into this investment, I'll make an additional 10 grand, and then I can pay off the credit card debt. So it needs to make sense, right? You can't do that. But yeah, that's my opinion. I think you can invest with debt. You just have to be strategic about it, and you have to know how you're going to pay off that debt while not missing financial opportunities. But yeah, that's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think you should pay off credit card debt and personal loan debt before you invest, or do you think you could do both and not miss these financial opportunities that we're seeing, especially now where we're going into an interest rate environment where the interest rates are getting cut and the markets are looking bullish. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Happy Friday, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.